Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Olivia and this is another video in my series called One Polish 5 Ways, where I take a look at a nail polish from my collection and go through 5 different techniques that I'd recommend for going beyond just like the basics of how to work with that polish just on its own. It's been a really fun way for me to learn how to get some more use out of the various polishes that are in my collection, and it's something I'd love to be able to share with other people who are trying to do the same thing. Before I go on, you all are probably noticing it's different in this video. Well, first of all, hi, it's me. I know I've just been a voice up to this point, but I figured now that I've been in this routine of recording videos, editing, uploading, and all that stuff, now I'm trying to see the next part of making it even more personal and putting more of myself out there. This is my home workspace here, my home office, so to speak. I work from home, and I always love it when the people that I'm on video calls with, they get to see all the little pieces of who I am based on the various things that are around me. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully, I mean, I know this is something that it's something I always love being able to see when I watch other nail content creators videos, to get more of a sense of who they are. So hopefully you'll get to know a little bit more of me this way too. So in any case, the polish that I'm going to be speaking about today is OPI's I'm Not Really a Waitress. If you are unfamiliar with this polish, it is a very iconic dark red polish. And I've mentioned before on this channel that I'm someone who loves a good dark vampy red polish. However, I very rarely find myself reaching for this one. And part of why I wanted to choose this one for this video was for the purpose of exploring the reasons behind that and trying to figure out, well, why don't I often reach for this polish? And also, what are some things that I can do differently with this polish to make it so that it is one that I want to use in more of my regular rotation. And spoiler, I was able to figure out some really good ways for how to do just that. So with this, I am hoping that for any of you who are also kind of on the fence about I'm not really a waitress, hopefully you'll get some inspiration from this video. So sit back, grab a nice cozy fall beverage, and let's get into it. The first way that I want to talk about wearing this polish is just on its own. And like I mentioned, it's a dark red polish, and it has a little bit of a pearlescent finish to it that I think is probably one of the main reasons why I typically don't reach for it. So I'll show you what I mean. So I put this first coat on here. This is one of the kind of polishes that, with it having this kind of pearlescent like finish, you definitely want to be mindful of your brush strokes, because, like, let me bring the brush back in here. You know, this is another reason why I don't reach for a lot of my OPI polishes, because I don't particularly like the shape of the brush. I tend to prefer one that's a little bit more rounded along the edges. And so if I zoom in a little bit closer here and move this from side to side, you can hopefully see what I'm talking about when I mentioned that it does tend to be very brush strokey. Now, when I apply the second coat of this, you'll see that that should mostly cover up the brush strokes that are in there. But, you know, as I was testing this out and preparing for this video, I will say even 2 coats of this was not really enough for me to fully disappear the view of the brush strokes. So let me go in with the second coat and let's see. So you can see what I mean, that it is in the second coat covering it up a little bit, which is good. but I do find myself needing to be a lot more intentional about my brush strokes with this polish than I do for most of the other polishes in my collection. So this is what this polish looks like on its own. Just to recap briefly, be mindful of your brush strokes, but overall, depending on your nail length, this should be fully opaque in 2 coats. The second way that I'm going to discuss using I'm Not Really a Waitress is with a jelly polish. And I've discussed on my channel previously a few times the power of using jelly polishes to add a subtle hint of color that can have the benefit of pushing it in a different direction beyond where you're starting. And that's going to be the case for this next step here that I'll show. And in preparation for this, I've swatched out 2 coats of I'm Not Really a Waitress on these 3 swatches here, so that we can then compare it to the original there. And I wanted to test this out because I just thought, again, why is it that I personally love dark red polishes, but I'm Not Really a Waitress is just not one that I ever reach for? And I will say that when I tested this out previously in preparation for this video, the results of this absolutely amazed me and were, this was just step 2 out of this 5-part video, and already from just the results of this, I was very inspired to actually use these as ways to pick up this polish in the future. So the first one is going to be Emily Damali Sheer Tint Shadow, which is a black jelly polish. Now this would be, I would say, if you're looking at I'm Not Really a Waitress and thinking that you want it to go like way darker and deeper. So let's put a coat of Sheer Tint Shadow on there. And just a little bit more. My Sheer Tint Shadow is running out, which is why I had to keep tilting it on the side there. I use it a lot. Okay. Look at that. This is a color that I love. Okay. So that is the difference there. I mean, the difference that just 1 coat of a jelly polish can make to not completely change the heart of I'm Not Really a Waitress and the color that it's presenting. But if you have this polish in your collection and you're like me and you just find that it's close to the shade of red that you love wearing, but it's not quite there, try putting a jelly on it, and this is what it looks like combined with black. So I also wanted to combine it with some red jelly polishes that I have. The first one being from Starly, Blood Belly Jelly. And this one, I wasn't quite sure how it would turn out. I mean, I've put black jelly polish over enough other polishes in my collection to already have a really good sense of how that would look, and this turned out exactly as expected. I wasn't quite sure what would happen when I did Blood Belly Jelly over, well, that's really hard to say fast, when I would put Blood Belly Jelly over top of I'm Not Really a Waitress, but here's how that looks. Oh, that's so pretty. Really, really pretty. It also kind of has the effect of making those brush strokes not as visible. I mean, I can still definitely see brush strokes, don't get me wrong, but like, let's compare this to I'm Not Really a Waitress. Oh goodness, I always say at least one just really strange thing in these videos, and I will honestly say I was not expecting that to be the tongue twister of this video, but here we are. Anyway, you can see the difference there. This one I feel like is just a richer, deep red that is the shade of red that I personally gravitate towards, and I feel like it just enriches the overall vibe of red that's there. Now, this is what Blood Belly jelly looks like. I also wanted to compare this to a different red from Starly, which is called Flame Jelly. Now let me show you these side by side first. So you can see that Flame Jelly on the right is what I would consider to be like a fire engine red, whereas Blood Belly jelly on the left is a bit deeper. It's like not verging into the territory of like dark maroon or anything, but it's a darker red. So let's see how Flame Jelly looks over I'm Not Really a Waitress. See, I put emphasis on really this time because I'm not doing that tongue twister again, hopefully. And admittedly, it is in person a little bit difficult to see the exact difference between these two here. It's very subtle, and I'm, as always, curious to see how this will present differently, or how this may present differently when I take this out into the sunlight. But for here, I would say, if you happen to have I'm Not Really a Waitress in your collection and you're wanting to do this experiment of putting the different types of red jellies over top of them, I think that something like Blood Belly jelly on the left here is the one I would recommend if you are like me and have more of a cooler undertone. Whereas on the right, Flame Jelly is one that I would recommend if you have more of a warm undertone. If you are more of a neutral undertone, you definitely want to experiment with these two if you have them or similar jellies in your collection to see which one would be the best fit for you. But overall, I mean, again, the purpose of this experiment here is to show you how you can take I'm Not Really a Waitress. You still keep the core essence of the dark red that's there, but you add a jelly over it, and suddenly it's almost like you've got a completely different polish. So I am personally looking forward to using this middle one at some point as a full manicure. It's absolutely stunning, and I'm so glad that I decided to do this experiment. The third way that I'm gonna talk about using I'm Not Really a Waitress is to use it with a topper. Now, whenever I add a new polish to my collection, one that is, say, like a cream or a shimmer, something that doesn't already have a lot of stuff in it, I like to give myself a sense of which of the toppers in my collection would be a good fit with that polish. And in general, I will use, or I'll test out a few different toppers, namely a silver glitter topper, a gold glitter topper, and then some other kind of flake topper that may go well with the color of the polish. And the first one we've got today is a silver reflective glitter topper from KB Shimmer called Out of Sequins. And it's always interesting to see, much like when you're trying to figure out if you prefer to wear gold or silver jewelry, will gold or silver or something else be the best fit for a topper for a certain polish? So just like before, for this test over here on these three swatches, I've swatched out 2 coats of I'm Not Really a Waitress. So here we go with the silver reflective glitter topper. And I will say, I love this KB Shimmer Out of Sequins topper. It is just, as I'm looking through the camera right now, it is just so sparkly. It is so pretty. It is just so glittery. I love this topper, but I don't think that I love it on I'm Not Really a Waitress. I feel like there's just not enough color contrast for me with this, where And by that I mean I don't feel that there's enough contrast between the color of the red polish and the silver that's on top of it. I feel that the silver, it's there, but it's not really popping out as much as I would like it to. So I personally would not recommend using that on top of I'm Not Really a Waitress. Let's go into our next test, which is going to be a gold reflective glitter topper. This one from Starly, Golden Starlight. This one is, it's basically the same kind of thing, just gold instead of silver. Same kind of concept where it's a topper that I frequently pull out and put on polishes when I don't necessarily want to change up the vibe of the polish, but I do want to add more spark. I do want to add more sparkle. Here we go. Let's add the gold on. Okay. Yeah, I think that if I had to choose between these two, the silver reflective glitter topper and the gold reflective glitter topper, I think that the gold is a much better fit for it. It just seems to blend in a little bit better. It still gives you that sparkle, but in a way that doesn't stand out so starkly against it like the silver does. Now, these are just two reflective glitter toppers, and as I was preparing for this video, I thought neither of these are still giving me that oomph as a good topper that I'm looking for. So that's when I pulled out a topper that I feel like I've been using in at least every other video on this channel because of how versatile it is. This is KB Shimmer Take It or Leave It. And it is perfect for fall. And I thought that with this dark red of I'm Not Really a Waitress already being something that's in that fall vibe, my hope was that adding KB Shimmer's Take It or Leave It would only enhance that. So let me show y'all how that turns out. Do you see what I mean? Like, look at that. This is, oh, it is so pretty. This is such a gorgeous combination there. This is like looking at the leaves on I was gonna say a sidewalk, but not a red sidewalk. Okay, the vision here is, let's say you're at an award ceremony and there's a red carpet, but then there's also a tree next to the red carpet and the tree has leaves falling down onto the red carpet. That's what this is. It is a very specific scenario, but even if that is not the scenario you're going for, I still do feel that, at least from the testing that I've done here, if you do happen to have I'm Not Really a Waitress in your collection and you're thinking of some toppers that you could potentially use with it, I would highly encourage you to experiment with a flake topper like Take It or Leave It. That really will help to just fit well in with what I'm Not Really a Waitress is doing, but also not completely overtake it. So like you can see that there's flakes, but you can also see the underlying polish, which I think is going to give you the best of both worlds. Before I jump to the next part, I do want to take a moment to show you all how these three swatches with the topper look now that I've added a top coat to them. That does definitely help to make their appearance a little bit better than what you saw before, especially with these two being reflective glitter toppers. And as many of you probably know, reflective glitter does tend to dry down with a dull, gritty finish that quick dry top coat can help to gloss up again. So it definitely does look better now, but I still will stand by my recommendation that if you are planning to use some kind of glitter topper over I'm Not Really a Waitress, I personally prefer the gold over, I prefer the gold more than I do the silver. The next way that I'm going to discuss using I'm Not Really a Waitress is in a jelly sandwich. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with that term, it's when you use a some kind of topper, often like a flake topper, as the middle piece of your nail polish layering, and then add a jelly on top of that to create a sandwich effect so that you can still see what's underneath, but it becomes because of the sheer nature of jelly polishes, you get a very nice effect of still being able to see what's underneath. And the idea for including this approach in this video actually came to me as the result of seeing how the jelly test here worked together with how much I love the look of I'm Not Really a Waitress with this Take It or Leave It topper. So I was thinking, okay, well, if I really liked how this polish works with some jelly toppers, or with jellies as a topper, how might that look when I put a jelly over Take It or Leave It over I'm Not Really a Waitress? So to prep for this, I have started with 2 coats of I'm Not Really a Waitress on each of these 2 here, followed by 1 coat of Take It or Leave It. And I'm gonna go back to the 2 red jelly polishes that I used earlier in this video, starting with Starly's Blood Belly Jelly. This was the darker of the 2 reds. And y'all, I'm just gonna say, when I tested this out, I went into this video thinking I don't really like using I'm Not Really a Waitress, and this video made me just so excited to use it in the future. Look at that. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna make this analogy because I was sick a couple weeks ago, and so I became very familiar with cough drops. This looks like a sparkly cough drop. Like it's like a cough drop with glitter under it and just that gorgeous red. And so as I mentioned from before with our other jelly experiments here, you still do get the benefit of the beautiful red color that's coming from I'm Not Really a Waitress. But because you now have layered this flake topper in the middle, I'm just gonna tilt this a bit here so that you can hopefully see the difference between how just the simple addition of a jelly makes this, it takes it to a completely new level compared to where we were here. So I love this because it's combining 2 of the other techniques that we talked about already. Yay! And of course, I wanted to also compare this to the other red that we used earlier, which is Starly's Flame Jelly. And this is the lighter of the 2. So I'm gonna put it over that one. Now, like I said earlier, when I was testing this out previously, and it took me a bit to figure out between the results of just the jelly test, which one I preferred. I really went back and forth here, even though I know that I tend towards liking this one because it's the cooler toned option that I know will work better for me. But one of the things that I am loving about the Flame Jelly option on the right is that because Flame Jelly is the lighter of the 2 reds, you get the benefit of seeing more of that underlying sparkle from Take It or Leave It in a way that you don't with Blood Belly Jelly. So I'm actually very mixed on my opinions between the 2 of these. I still love Blood Belly Jelly and the result here, but y'all, this one here, like, if I want to continue that weird analogy I was talking about earlier, like, what was it, the fall leaves falling on the red carpet or something, but I wanted to elevate that, this is the one that I would have to do, just because you still get that red carpet feeling underneath from I'm Not Really a Waitress, and because this one is a lighter jelly, you still see more of the fall leaves under there. So yeah, I'm just gonna pause and say this is why I love making these videos, because it's just amazing how you can pull together a few different polishes that you have in your collection, and it can completely transform your opinion of them and give you just so many ideas for what you can do with them that goes beyond just using them on their own like this. So let's see how these look outside. The fifth and final way that I'm gonna show how to use I'm Not Really a Waitress is in nail art. And for those of you who watched my previous video with one polish 5 ways, I promise to not make another minion in this nail art. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch that video. There may or may not be a minion in there. For this, and with it being October and a lot of people getting more into spooky season, I thought that it could be a good time to do a blood tutorial, like a bloody nail kind of nail art. So for starters, I've started with 2 coats of this white polish ILMP's canvas. And there's a tutorial that I found online that I'll link in the comments, or I'll link in the description of this video, so that for those of you who might want to read the steps out and go at a different pace, you'll be able to more easily do that. The link will be in there for you. I will just mention that the one difference that I've chosen to do in my version of this is to add in a top coat over the white polish and allow that to completely dry before going on to the next part. In my experience, I just find that having a nice, very smooth surface to work from with this when I'm doing nail art allows me to make better brush strokes and not worry about things streaking. Okay, so let's see how this goes. We're gonna do some bloody nails here, and I mean, I'm excited about this. I've never tried to wear like bloody nails, but I think with this being Halloween season, why not? So the first thing that you're gonna start doing once you have your white base and top coat is to use a nail brush like this to start by drawing on 3 vertically drawn lines with OPI's I'm Not Really a Waitress. Now what you want to do is do these with different lengths for like a better real effect. So I'm gonna put this one maybe that length. This one in the middle will be a little bit shorter. And then I'm gonna do the third one that will be probably somewhere in between. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. So once you've got those 3 lines there, the next thing that you want to do, and you can probably do this even while these lines are drying, is that you want to connect these lines that you've drawn by doing arches. And specifically, like curved arches, really emphasize the curvature there, because if you do it like a straight line across, it's just not gonna look realistic. You want this to be curved like this. So let's see, like that, so that it looks a little bit more realistic. So let me do it on this side too. Yeah, so you can see, like, you'll know that you're on the right track with this if what you're drawing starts to look like the letter M. Now do one more down here. Okay, so that looks not bad there. You know, I wasn't gonna show this to you all in this video, but I think it bears just you know what? I will show you what my first test of this looked like. And part of the issue with this is that I did not allow the polish to fully dry before putting on the top coat. So that is what this first test looked like. And so far, I think I am already off to a much better start. I really did not curve this much. So let this be a lesson to make sure to do some curvature, but then also really allow the whole thing to dry more than you think that you need it to before you put that last before you put that top coat on again. I also like to show that because I want you all to know that I'm human. I'm not perfect. I struggle with nail art just like everyone often does, but I think the more that you try, the easier it becomes, and the more skilled that you are, and the more confident that you become in your abilities. So, okay. Next thing that you're going to want to do is fill in all of those gaps that are there. So like the white emptiness up there is what you want to fill in. Once again, it's looking way better already. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, let me bring the other one in just for reference so I can remind myself. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, let's put that one away again. Okay, the next thing that you're going to want to do will be to create 3 dots on the edge of each line here. Now, if you are someone who feels very confident in your drawing abilities, you can absolutely do this freehand, but I know for myself, I am going to choose to use a dotting tool to make that process a little bit easier. I think I'm looking at the 2 different sizes here. I think I'm gonna start with the smaller size dot to see how that looks first. Okay, I think if you start smaller, you can always like pat around it like you see me doing there and make it bigger as needed. And see, part of why I often don't like using a dotting tool is because like it'll like drag a little bit there with the polish. But let's see, I think I'm gonna try a bigger dot for the second one there, just to give some variety and also to show you how that looks in case any of you are wondering which size might be best for you if you decide to do this. So this is going to be the larger size dot. Oh, I think I like that one better. Okay, yeah, you know what, that ended up being the size that I wanted, and I was able to get there without having to like repeatedly dot like what I did with the smaller one. So I take back what I said at first. I'm gonna go with the larger dot for this one. Okay, interesting. That one actually, I think because of the angle that I used for this, the third one ended up looking smaller anyway, but you know, it's blood. It's not gonna be uniform, so this is not bad. I'm actually very happy with this. Okay, now the next thing that you want to do is connect the dots to the lines by using small, precise strokes with your brush. So this is going to be a way to kind of like fill in, like here, I could use a little bit more of that drip. And then I think the one in the middle looks mostly okay, but I do want to add just a little bit more of a thicker line there. Oh, that's nice. Okay, for the third one, I want to definitely go over the line one more time. Make it thicker. Oh no, I made it too thick. Oh no, it's too thick. Okay, I'm making the dot bigger. Oh no, I've already committed. Here we go. I'm just going for it. Okay. I mean, is it perfect? No. Is it better than this? Yes. You see what happened here? Again, just disregard the smearing on the top coat in the first time I did it. Where I went wrong, I don't want to say wrong, but where I found a way to improve from my initial test is that I made my dots on the one on the left just way too big. And those were drawn freehand. Like, because I don't really know how to freehand draw a little dot that well, I ended up finding that I was constantly going over and over and over it again to the point where it just became very, very large. And I don't want to do that. And so that's really all that you have to do here. You can always go back and add in just a little bit more finesse if you want. You can also, this next thing I'm going to show was not part of the tutorial, but as I'm looking at this now, I'm thinking that I do want to test something out and see how it might look. You know how we've been talking about using Starly's flame jelly, the lighter of those two reds. I'm curious to see what'll happen if I selectively add in a little bit of that lighter red jelly, just to give a bit more dimension and depth, because this is good here, but I'm in this part I have not tested out, so I don't know how this will go, but my vision is that adding in a little bit of that light red will add some depth. Oh, okay. I don't know if I like this or not, but I'm just gonna stick with it. Okay, yeah, it's like adding a bit of additional color there. And I also feel that because I'm Not Really a Waitress is a dark red, I think that adding some of the flame jelly on top of it is helping it to more clearly read as red from a further distance. So let me just add like a drop. Oh no, I should stop. I mean, okay, that was a test. I probably should have stopped a couple of brush strokes ago, but this is one of the reasons why whenever I do nail art, I almost always do test it out on a swatch first, so that way I can test that out as many times as I need to before committing to putting it on my actual nail. And if it turns out that I didn't like it on my actual nail, I don't have to like completely remove everything, start over, and so on. And so, yeah, this is just one example of how you can use I'm Not Really a Waitress in nail art, especially if you are wearing a Halloween costume that could benefit from having some nice blood effect on it. Give this a try. And also, you don't necessarily need to do this with a white background. I will say, I tried this out on a black background at first, and I would not recommend using I'm Not Really a Waitress on top of black. The color contrast just was not there to allow I'm Not Really a Waitress to stand out. So I would say experiment with other colors. I think this might go fantastic over like a lime neon green. Like if you're going for like a bloody toxic waste kind of vibe, give it a try. But yeah, let's see how this looks in the sunlight. Okay, so that is all for today's video on the 5 different ways to use OPI's I'm Not Really a Waitress. I really enjoyed the process of putting together these different swatches here, and especially taking them out into the sunlight and seeing just how much more vibrant they became out there. It's so fascinating how this was a polish that I just thought, no, this is not one of my top reds, but now I know that I have a better understanding of some of the versatility that's there to it. And so if any of you who are watching have suggestions or ideas for other polishes that you would like for me to cover in this series, please leave a comment below. I would love to hear which ones are in your list of, hey, I've been using this a little bit, but now I'm curious to do more with it. Please let me know. And as always, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.